Hello, and welcome to Abby Tyler's Healthy Living. My name is Abby Tyler. I'm your host, a family nurse practitioner, a health and wellness blogger, and a community volunteer. In here, we discuss evidence based health information regarding mind, body, and soul with a holistic emphasis. Thanks for joining me on this journey of health and wellness. Please enjoy the show. Hello, hello, ATH Ellis. Welcome to our weekly show. My name is Abby, your Healthy Living NP. How are you guys doing? Hope all is well. Thanks for joining me tonight. As you can see, tonight's topic is tips to help you fly with less fear. Um, if you're joining us from hello to Focus on Liberia, Abby Tyler's Healthy Living page, and also on YouTube. As always, my disclaimer, I am a provider, but I'm not your provider, so please do not make any changes to your regimen without checking with your own provider. Okay, I'll be answering questions halfway through the show and all that too. So please share the show. Please share the show. Invite a friend and share the show. I know Facebook doesn't always send alerts and all that too. So please share the show. Okay, so today's topic is tips to help you fly with less fear. Now, full disclosure, I decided to do this topic today because of what I experienced recently. I hate flying. If I have to go somewhere and I have to fly, I will do it, but I hate flying. I really prefer to just drive or somebody drive me or take Uber or whatever and all that. So for long distances, of course, you have to fly. So I had a family reunion this weekend. It's going to be a personal story, and then I'll just get to little tips here and there. Okay. So we had a good time. We had a good time and came back. We had to change our trip and all that too. So we changed our trip coming back. So of course we had to we had to leave from Houston and then go to Chicago. And then we're going to come to Pennsylvania. So we got into Chicago and we were just taxiing in the runway. Meaning the plane just like going back and forth on the runway. And I kept seeing the same thing over and over. I said, wait a second, they're building something new over there. And then I said, wait a second, why am I seeing the same thing over and over? We taxied for like 45 minutes. Finally, the pilot came on and said, "Oh, ladies and gentlemen, something going on at the airport. I think everything was back up, so we're just kind of moving around until we get their place to park to go into the hangar." So, of course, I was like, "Oh, okay," and hope nothing else is going wrong there. And then let me just go in here for a second. Alrighty. And then we went on, we got in, we're rushing. So we had to rush to go to our plane because everything was running late. So we got there, got all lost, got in there, and then it was delayed. So we were like, okay, we'll go in. All right. Now you have fear, flight anxiety. Right now, I'm like, everything's running on like 100%. So we got in the plane, and then he said, ladies and gentlemen, there's a storm coming and all that too. So if you want to get out for an hour or so, you can come and take pictures with the pilot, or you want to go out. So we're going out and all that. So we'll just go out and stretch our legs, because when you're flying, like I told you guys before, you're not supposed to be sitting down where you're just sitting down for a long period of time. You want to stretch your legs, and also you don't get any your blood pooling in your legs and all that can cause like it clot up and go to your heart or your lungs or your brain. Okay, that can cause like death or like disability. So that's why you call pulmonary embolism, when it breaks through and come over, go to your lungs and all that. So we're like, okay. So as we're getting off, and then he says, "Oh, they just called us the national." He kept saying on APC or something. He's like, "Okay, so they just said that something's going on, so everybody has to get off the plane, and we'll probably get back around 12 o'clock." So this is like around maybe 10ish. 9, 10ish, we already bored. Everybody had to get off. So we're sitting there and they say, okay, an hour later, get back on the plane. So we got on and we got on. I was like, my anxiety level by this time, it was like through the roof. Okay. I was like, please, let's just get home. Let's just get home. I don't want to have to deal with this. Just get home. I'm sitting there. And usually most of the time I'm flying with my husband. So, and when we're getting off, we're taking off and landing. That's when I get really scared. So I'm always like squeezing the life out of his hands anyways. So we get on and it started going, and then it was just like turbulence from the minute we got on the plane. It was just the plane was shaking the entire time. I was sitting there and I had my headphones on, and I'm like, oh my God. Okay, let me put some music on. Okay, maybe that would distract me. That didn't distract me. I said, let me do that. I told my husband, he's like, what can you do? I said, he can just stop the plane. He can just like literally just turn around, go to another major airport and land. He doesn't have to keep going. Why does he keep going? Why am I in here? And the thing about fear, and if, fear anxiety and all that fear flying, it's like the fact that you don't have any control. That's the most important thing about it. You don't have any control because at least when you're in the car, you can say stop the car, and you can stop and like breathe and all that. Or you maybe in a boat where they can stop the boat, or a ship and all that. But at least you're on land and you can do something about it. But when you're there, it's just you, and no other alternative, either landing or crashing. So of course I'm sitting there, and I'm like, and those my husband and I weren't supposed to be in the same seat. He was supposed to be somewhere else. Luckily, this man agreed for us to sit together. And this other cute little lady, I thought she was my former coworker. So she's sitting there, and she's just sitting there quietly. She said, I can change my seat. I said, no, mama. She's like a little older lady. I said, no, mama, you don't have to change. You can sit there. We'll sit here. And the other man agreed. So of course I'm sitting there, and I put the music on, and I put Christian music on, and I put other music on. Nothing was working. I was like losing my mind. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then the pilot said, oh, I've instructed all the flight attendants not to get up and just sit down, because turbulence and all, you don't want to be moving. You're going to hit your head, have a head injury. So I said, oh, that's a sign that, we're really going to crash. And I'm like, this is my mom sitting there doing everything to like just bring myself down. And and my husband went to sleep. I guess he's like, I was annoying him or whatever. But this little lady sitting next to me, and I kept looking at her. She had a little mask on. She had her blanket covering up, and she just had her head down. And I kept looking at her, and I'm like, has she accepted the fate that we're gonna die? So maybe she's just like relaxing, or just knowing that, or maybe she's like trying to like not to be nervous, and she's doing that, and nothing calmed me down. But I just kept looking at her, and as I kept looking at her, I was like, her energy was like drawing into me. I was drawing into her energy, like it was almost as if to say like her calming presence kind of calmed me down. And I spent half of the flight. I hope she, she did. I was looking at her like some kind of creep. I just kept looking at her. It was almost like I was looking at her for guidance. For yes, mama, you're gonna just make me feel better. I kept looking. I kept looking at her. Every time I look, and I literally turned this way, and I kept looking at her, and I'm like, oh. And I was like, okay, you know what? I just want to accept my fate. Maybe this is the way we're going to die. And there's nothing I can do about it because I'm here. There's nothing I can do. The pilots here, all these people are here. And it was eerily quiet. It was just quiet because nobody was moving around. One person got up because she said, I absolutely have to go to the bathroom. But everybody sat down quietly. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. I thought of my children. I thought on, people on Facebook. They're like, and just, you guys are going to miss me, right? If I was going to play it, just say that. Say yes. Okay. So anyways, but it was like, I would just think of my children. I said, you know what, maybe this is it. But luckily, it was like I said, turbulence all through. And then when we finally landed, and then he hit the ground so hard. That's when she even reacted because she put her hand out and all that, and it was done. I was like, okay. And she came out, and she's like, I said, do you have anything up there, mama? She's like, no. And I said, go ahead. She goes, no, you go. I said, no, 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 you go. She was so cute. She's like, about maybe 5 foot. And she went out, and then her family must have sent for a wheelchair for her because she got right into the wheelchair right as soon as we got off the plane. And then she left from there. And I was like, bye, mama. So if you were this cute little Indian lady who was sitting next to me on the American Airlines flight from Chicago to Philadelphia, thank you. You helped me more than you ever know. So sometimes it's not always, like mind, body, and soul, like I talk about on, talking about relating to things, mind, body, and soul. I'm not a psych person already. So, but I also take care of people with psych issues and all that. So so if you have fear of flying, here are some of the tips, because I know a lot of people, it's not just me, like millions and millions of people have fear of flying. Okay, so here's some of the tips that I was reading from the pilots and flight attendants too. Okay, so also it's a real thing. It's called aerophobia. They have another name for it too. Okay, so again, like I said, it's a fear of being out of control, because it's like you don't have that ability to say stop. You can handle it. It's just somebody's leaving your life in somebody's hands, and it's something that when you have fear of that, sometimes you have anxiety issues too. You can handle that. Other people can say, okay, I can bring it down, but you can just some of the tips that you can go through. Okay. So you can start with short flights. All right. You start going somewhere where, let's say the flight is like 1 hour long, and then gradually move on from there. Okay, I'll be going, maybe I live in Pennsylvania. I'm gonna go maybe to like maybe North Carolina, where it's like maybe an hour or so. Flying to California is way on the other side. It's like 5 hours flight. So take it easy. Go to the Midwest. And depending on where you are in the world and all, know which country or which state or which city is farthest, 1 hour from you, and then try that from there. Okay. Also, and you can do, if you're going to do connecting flights, like let's say you were going to fly where you have to stop and then at one airport and go to the other airport, making sure that it's like the distance in between those flights are not like you have to sit there for maybe 3 to 4 hours. You're going to be sitting there, you're going to be worrying more about it. And also make sure you say, what, how long is the layover? Maybe 30 minutes, and 40 minutes, have something to drink while you're there too. Usually when you're just going from different places, you don't have to go through the whole thing where you have to check your bags and take everything out again. Okay. So that kind of lessens your anxiety level also. And then also, if you go into the airport, pre-check, to say you can pre-check, if you can pre-check your luggages, so that way you're not running phone part. And if you have a carry-on bag, make sure it's not too heavy. And also, and anything really important, put it in this other bag, because you're going to be worried, oh my god, if I lose my luggage, I won't have this important thing, and all that. So if you can put it in your little carry-on bag a little bit, carry it with you. Okay. And like I said, pre-check, and everything, pre-screen, do your pre-screening and all that. Alrighty. If you have to take your shoes off, and if you have slippers on, I have flip-flops on, and have to like step on the dirty floors, put socks on or something else. Alrighty. Sit in the front. It said apparently when I was coming back from Chicago to Philadelphia, we were sitting in the very back, like literally where the wall ends. So they said when you're sitting in the front of the plane, of course, that would be first class, and if you can afford it, but like a little right before, behind first class, the turbulence, you don't feel it as much as opposed to when you're sitting in the back. I knew that from last night. So it's like, I swear, it felt like the plane was going to fall any minute. Alrighty. And so don't sit next to the exit either, because we sat next to the exit the last time, and my husband's pretty tall, and he said I want leg room, and they tell you, you have to promise that if anything should happen, you have to help to open the door, and also I'll have to give some medical care to other people too. So we were like, oh yeah, we'll do that. I was like, yeah, but I'm thinking to myself, you're probably gonna, pass out before if that door opens, you're gonna pass out. So don't, but you have to say it. And then we sat there, and the air hostess was, that's like another flight before a couple of months ago, and she's sitting there and she's like holding onto the chair like that. I'm going, that's not relaxing for me. I don't want to see the flight attendant acting like that. Okay. But of course, she, self-preservation too. So, but anyways, sit in front, set it is. So if you really have some issues with flying and all that too, you can speak to your provider, your doctor, your nurse practitioner, PA, and all. So if they can give you something, for me, narcotics just go right through me, and then I fall asleep very easily. And it's the same with alcohol. That's why I don't drink, because I'm easy drunk. So, I don't do that. So it's like, said it is something light. Your doctor can give you something like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a narcotic. There are many medications out there that you can take that can kind of ease you and ease your stress and all that. Okay. And talk about it. If you have other issues with anxiety too, and things that bother you over the years and all, talk about it too, because it could just not be just fear of flying, but from other things. So if you have to see, your primary care provider, or they want to send you to a counselor or something like that, ask about that. All right. And also you can talk to the pilot. Most of the pilots that I was reading about, they're like, oh, you can just come and talk to us. Don't do it when they're completely landed, when they're already completely boarded. You can do that, when they're waiting, you can go in there. So, oh, can I just talk to you? Just give me a little bit of heads up, and it'll make you feel at ease. Okay. I saw the pilot when we got down. He was walking down, and then the air stewardess, flight attendants, and they were walking the other way. I wanted to ask him, I wanted to say, you could have just stopped the plane somewhere, you didn't have to continue. You didn't have to continue. But he was so sweet. And I was like, bye. He's like, but when you're in that moment, you're like panicking, you can't think straight. But he seems real nice. Alrighty. And do some pursed lip breathing. When I always tell you guys, when you breathe and you hold it in, and you breathe out slowly. So it's like you take a big gulp of air with your nose and mouth closed, and then you breathe out slowly, like you're trying to blow out a little candle. Okay, so slowly, so that way that kind of relaxes you, brings down your blood pressure, brings down your heart rate. I did all of that last night. It didn't help. I'm telling you, it only helped when when I looked at this sweet little lady next to me. She was my salvation last night. So I thank God for that. And it said, do not fear turbulence. Well, yeah, when the plane's going like this, how can you not fear it? So, but it said because the way the air is like, the plane has a lot of pressure in it, so it is built to withstand turbulence and this and that. And now when you're thinking like it, you're like, I don't know. There's been other times when planes just came out, just fell from the sky, and no, 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 nothing makes you feel more nervous than something just shaking. Alrighty. And by the way, by the time we landed, the flight attendant made the announcement. She's like, whew, we made it. And I'm like, also everybody else was scared. Everybody was just like kind of quiet. So, oof. But anyways, and also like determine your seats and all, know where you're going to be sitting ahead of time, call ahead of time, like when you make your appointment, when you make your arrangements, don't make it too late and all. Again, like I said, make sure you're sitting at the front of the plane or like closer to where you know, not all the way in the back. And if you can look out the window, if you get like motion sickness, sometimes it's best to look out the window because your body's sitting there and the plane's going this way and all that. So do everything. You can read more about most of the other tips and all that. Okay. And I'll find distractions. Again, like I said, I had my music on, I had this thing on. My husband put we finally got the, half of the time we never get Wi-Fi on our phone. So we finally got it. The movies were there and I didn't watch any. Nothing was distracting me because I'm like, nope, 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 nope. So these are not all the tips and all that too, but it's like helpful one to start off with. And again, like I said, most important, if you have other issues with anxiety and all that, please talk to your provider about it. Okay. So, but it's just it was scary. And I just sit there and literally say, this is it, this is how it's going to end, my life is going to be over and this is it. So that was like, I think that was really my first time outside of something else, other incidents. That was my first time like really giving in to the fact that okay, this is how my life is going to end, and I just had a beautiful time with my family and friends, and this is how it's going to end. And my one of my biggest fear was finally like coming true, and it's like scary because it's like you're so helpless, you can't do anything about it. So the same thing is also in medicine too. When you're there and they give you a bad diagnosis and you're doing everything and it's just something that you're going to be going to maybe chemotherapy or you be taking a medication, and maybe for diabetes or something and blood pressure, and your blood pressure stays high, your the cancer is still spreading, and sometimes you have no stuff. And sometimes I sit there and I say, how will I even be able to go through that, knowing that I have this disease and knowing that it is, and you worry about your children, you worry about, I mean, my kids are not little, but you still just for your children, so you think about all that. And even my niece, who she's been on here a couple of times before, where she's like, think about it. 80% of the things that you worry about is not going to come true. And this is me. I don't want to hear it right now, Vanessa, get on my ears. I hope she's watching. She's probably going to be like lying, like laughing at me. But it's like you sitting there like nothing's working right now. Stop the plane. I want to get off. I just want to get off so I can be safe. But so all those things. So that's important. If like I said, if you have problems with anxiety, also worrying about everything. I grew up like my parents divorced, so it was like I was always like I was oldest child, so I was worried about, oh my god, if anything happened to my mother, I'll be an orphan. So all of that, triggers all these different things, and also breathe easy, use a lot of distractions, take some nice movies and all, and just do different things. And like again, like I said, go, get your flight. You get your flight. Make sure you determine your seat. Don't sit all the way far away in the back. Get somebody to fly with you. Most of the time, if you have somebody flying with you, that's kind of helpful to that person's not as anxious as you are. Hopefully, okay. Talk to the pilot. Do some, breathing. Do some distracting techniques and all that, and hopefully things will go well. Especially now when everybody flying from different places to go to vacation, but people flying every day for like work and different things. And also for those of you like flying and you enjoy doing it, that's fine. Plus, trust, I was sitting there, was kind of embarrassed too, because all these little kids, they were like, oh yeah, enjoying and all. And I'm sitting there going, please just land already. Just land. So, but thank you all for listening to me. I know I'm a little crazy sometimes. Sometimes, confession is good for the soul. So let me go in here and see any topics. Oh, okay. So no comments. So, but anyways, if you guys, tell me your stories too. But I'm glad I'm here to let you guys know that I made it through and all. And in the grand scheme of things, yes, I know people are worrying about things much bigger than that. But I always tell people, just because somebody else has more bigger problems, the bigger things they're dealing with, doesn't negate the feelings that you're having for what problems you're going through. Okay, so for all my people who are afraid of flying, they're just like me, millions and millions of people and all that too. We'll get through it. Okay. We'll get through it. And, if you have any tips to add to this, please go on there. And again, I want to thank that little lady who helped me through, because she didn't even know. And hopefully she didn't know that I was just staring at her the entire time. But thank you all for watching. It was like, and please share the show. Please share the show. Thank you all for your love and support. And I will talk to you guys later. Okay. Bye-bye. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up, please. Give me a thumbs up and share the show. Okay. Share the show. Share the show. Be kind. Share the show. Alrighty. Okay, so if you have any topics that you want me to talk about another times, please let me know. I can just go over that. But I'm sure you hope you guys are enjoying, the weather. It's been kind of hot in my neck of the woods. But thank you all for watching. And join me every Tuesday for our weekly show. And then I do Abby's Daily Dose during the week. It's a shorter videos. So for those of you who are still who haven't joined from Focus in Liberia, from YouTube and all that too, I put the video on YouTube, also the 30-minute video, 30 90 seconds video. All right. Thank you. They don't want to make this too long. Sorry for going through all that. But love you all and bye-bye.